Yes, it's Calm Down's 10th episode reunion spectacular. Join us tonight as we look back at the adequate levels of success achieved by your hosts, Molk Bradon. We've got Sam Mack and Wil Anderson as special guests, and tonight's musical guest is international superstar Accordion Hands. So settle back, put your feet up, and give a big hand to our house band, George and the Jetsons, as we launch headfirst into the 10th episode reunion spectacular of Calm Down.
Hey! Welcome, everybody!
Green guy.
Yeah. No, this is the real deal. Hey! Hang on. Now that I can see myself, here we go.
Bradon, I don't want to alarm you, but there's a small animal that's taken root on your head.
Mate, it is it's the finale. It's the reunion. It's been so long since I've seen you, mate.
Mate, how good is remembering how fun it was?
Yeah, and that's what we're here to do, isn't it?
So much. Look, we're so glad that you could join us, friends. Welcome to the Calm Down 10th episode reunion spectacular. My name is Molk. That guy is Bradon, or Fringe Guy, or Muppet Head.
Mullet guy. Look, guy. Party at the back.
Are you that guy from Adelaide on The Voice?
I'm that guy from any part of Adelaide.
Or Gisborne, to be fair. Look, we're so glad that you could join us for a look back at some of the great fun that we've had on Calm Down. What a show it's been. It really did rocket up the Facebook Live charts in a way that, meant that there was Facebook Live charts. We've had a good time. We'll think about those things. We'll ponder where we are right now, and we'll look to the future as we think about what life looks like without Calm Down in your life, Bradon.
Yeah, I know. People will be left to their own resources, I think, Molk. Look, when people heard about the reunion, they got excited, but we actually received a few apologies.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, if you don't mind, Molk, I might just, for example, Nigel Hanscamp sent an apology. He's been the butt of a few jokes and my boss. So he sent apologies, but I got a video message. Do you mind if I play it, Molk?
Look, I'd love to see it. I better put my wine down in case it causes me to do something.
Yeah, no, just a few video messages from people who couldn't be here tonight.
What's my...
What we realised there, Molk, is we were commenting live and there was a delay, so you were offering massive spoilers. Good on you.
Tough for them.
Unless it goes out on the delay.
It should go out on the delay.
We should investigate that.
We should investigate that. Somebody tell us in the comments, does it go out on delay? Look, it's great to have Chrissy Morgan. She was a regular part of the show commenting. It's great to have her back for our reunion special. I love this show when it was on. It's so great they've put together a reunion spectacular so we can all reminisce together. You are bang on. That is correct.
Yep. That's what we're here for. That's what we're here for.
It's a public service. Now, we want to remind everyone, as a part of our 10th episode reunion spectacular, we've actually got guests that have never been on the show before. So
yeah, they wanted to join in.
They did.
They're the ones that were available.
Basically, they were fulfilling obligations of promises made earlier in the season, and they only just became available. We want to get your comments, as before with Trent, but get your comments so that we can ask them questions as a part of our chat when they're joining us live later in the show. We've got a great lineup, as we heard from VoiceOver Lady before. We've got Sam Mack, Australia's favourite bricky weather girl. We've got Wil Anderson. He's pretty famous and a comedian guy. And our own Australia's own mega international famous superstar, Accordion Hands, is joining us, Bradon. That's phenomenal.
It's going to be great. It's going to be great. Now, look, we need to clarify something, Molk.
Okay, really? Okay.
This is it. I know.
We're done.
I know, way back in the early days, it looked like maybe just 5 episodes for our April run.
Mm.
Then we got renewed. We ran all through May. Last week, feels like ages ago, but it was only last week. Why are we having a reunion? Was our finale.
The production meeting.
And we're here for a reunion show today to celebrate everything that is great about life.
Yes.
But tonight is the last show. And it's important. A, we've run out of budget.
Yes.
B, A, we've run out of budget. And
B, I've got an important meeting with my bosses and HR on Tuesday for some reason that I don't understand. Maybe they're related. Who knows?
And C, friends, it's taken its toll.
Look at your head.
It's taken its
You
toll.
damn
Look at
straight
my
it's taken
well.
its toll.
Funny you should mention my head, Molk, because I wanted to share with. I mean, that's a nice looking haircut there, Molk, isn't it?
Look, this is my.
You're looking sharp.
I'm coming out of ISO haircut. That's what this is.
We've prepared a little trip down memory
Oh,
lane.
good.
Let's
Have
see if
we?
anyone can notice.
Oh, I wonder.
Right? Just
Hang on, I've got to
buckle
put
up.
full for this, don't I?
Yeah,
There
buckle
we
up,
go.
big fella.
Okay, I'm ready.
Got a bit wild and woolly there, didn't it, mate?
Look, it certainly did, and I want to put that down as much as anything to the fact that I didn't care.
Yeah. Well, it took its toll on the host, but also this is one of our avid listeners, Wil Nicholas.
Oh, Will, it's great to see you. Glad you could finally join. Did he pay $500 for this?
No, not quite, but have a look how he was last week. I mean, it has taken its toll on our listeners. So,
the picture of him on the right with the sort of red-tinted, rose-tinted glasses, he looks like a pop Funko.
Yeah, he does. So, in the interest, it's now almost a health concern. We've got to wrap this up.
Speaking of Wil Nicholas, he has said Molk still hasn't fixed his glasses. Yes, I want to point out that this is my optometrist not delivering within the promised time frame that they said that would be I'd have new glasses by now. So these are going to fall off my face at any minute.
Yeah.
You can't get good help these days.
And I know that Sam's waiting in the green room, but there's one more thing.
Yes.
There's one more thing I need to acknowledge.
Sure.
Tonight's not just the end of Calm Down.
Mm.
It's also the end of one of the joys of my life. You see, a little while ago, I discovered Doritos nacho cheese dip.
Really, bro?
And
yes.
My wife has banned it from the house. She says some sort of room temperature, sort of gelatinous orange isn't welcome. So I've hidden it in the shed, and tonight is going to be the last time that I eat this dip in our house.
What, at all?
And it's also convenient. I've got some chippies because
Good choice.
could be a long show, so I figured I'd have a snack. I'll let you know how I go. I don't know that I'll get through the whole dip, but I'll give it a shake.
Red hot, no, mate. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, we one thing we do know is that all of our guests tonight are up for a chat. So yeah, we need to be need to be ready, because I imagine that along with your questions, I forgot to put this on. Along with your questions, there'll be a lot of great conversation that will come out of tonight. But we do need to press on to our first guest, Bradon. I need to put you in full screen so that voiceover lady can tell us all about who he is.
Let's find out.
Our first guest tonight has performed with the Wiggles and works with a human emoji. When he's not doting on his famous cat Coco, he's Australia's favourite brekkie weather girl. Please smash your hands together in applause for Mr. Sam Mack.
Sam, as Australia's favourite brekkie weather girl, you get to see an amazing array of things and people and all sorts of things in the country, but you've had your wings clipped with the coronavirus. How hard has it been coming up with all of those crosses every morning?
Well, thanks for having me on the show, guys. It's an honour to be on an episode that isn't actually an episode, which kind of makes me think, where was I in the first 9 episodes? That's fine. I'll move beyond.
Can't imagine.
I don't want to make a thing out of it.
No, that's right. We'll talk about your management later.
It has been so unique, so challenging, because you're right. My job is normally traveling. I do over 130 flights a year sometimes. So every week I'm at least at the airport a couple of times. So I really miss paying $9 for a sandwich, as I go through the airports. I really miss those interactions. I miss those security pat downs. That's the only time I get touched every week, guaranteed. I probably hang around there too long. They're like, mate, you can go through, you're safe. I'm like, you want to just double check or triple check?
Just need a hug.
Lower. But I tell you what, it's been such a different way of doing the show. Like you guys are doing right now. We've been doing live TV, like Skype, like Zoom, like FaceTime, and it's been challenging, absolutely. But it's also been really rewarding. And what I've loved about it is we've found a way to make the rest of the country still feel connected. And also, this is an important one for me, so much of the news and so much of life at the moment is doom and gloom and is scary topics, and people are carrying this weight, and our lives have changed so much. So I really love that in my segments we can at least have a couple of minutes to find a bit of fun and to remind people, particularly kids who watch our show, the world is not all doom and gloom. Not everyone is bad out there. Not everyone has corona is going to give it to you. Not everyone's being an idiot in America right now. There's a lot of great people and a lot of amazing stories, and we've got to find those positives. And I love that that's part of my role.
Super.
That sort of attitude. Some fans will know that you were nominated for a gold Logie last year when the Logies were a thing. And so you're uniquely qualified to answer my only question. How much bullshit goes into the phrase, it's an honour just to be nominated? Like, is that the most cliched response ever?
Well, I'll start by saying it's an honour just to be included on your show.
Yeah, of course.
You know what? Like, I've spoken about this a lot, and I'm not just saying it. I was genuinely shocked to be included in that category. I am a TV nerd. Folks, you know this, over many years, I've grown up watching TV, blogging about TV, writing about TV, obsessing over TV, presenters that I love, going to watch tapings of shows. I am one of those TV nerds. So since I was a kid, I've watched the Logies every year from start to finish. And that, as we all know, often means taking the next day off school just to see who wins the gold, because it happens at about 2 p.m. normally by the time it finishes. So to be included in that category, and also just the people I was alongside, like Amanda Keller, who I admire. I'm lucky enough to know her personally. I've admired her work for many, many years. Waleed, who's a brilliant mind, Tom, who's hilarious. The list goes on. But to be included alongside that level of TV performer, and these guys have been doing it a lot longer than I have, most of them, it was really special. And, to be the first person from Sunrise to be nominated for that, the show's been going 20 years whilst being on Sunrise, there were a lot of things about it that spun me out. So, yeah, it genuinely was an honour. Like, that's not bullshit.
It's super great.
I still don't believe you.
Part of the course, that's just what television is these days. Now, Sam, in your role within Sunrise, and look, given the incredible nature of Big Brother, it's about to come back onto our TV screens. The whole Sunrise on-screen team are going into the Big Brother house ahead of it opening up, the show starting on Monday. Are you looking forward to voting out the cash cow?
Well, I mean, if we get really desperate, at least there's a source of milk in the house. I don't know what the catering is like at the Big Brother house. I mean, that would make some interesting TV, wouldn't it?
It sure would, on a number of levels.
Yeah, me and Edwina fighting over an udder.
That is a mental image, friends.
That's Big Brother up late. So, yeah, it's something, again, I'm a TV nerd, so this excites me. I want to see what the house looks like. I want to get a feel for what it would feel like for the housemates, what the cameras are going to be like. There is a part of me that is kind of thinking, look, if we're going to have the Big Brother experience, we're going to be housemates for whatever length of time it is, a day or so. Part of me is a little bit concerned because, there's so many redundancies happening in so many jobs and industries right now. I'm worried that an eviction from the Big Brother house actually means an eviction from your job. So I don't know. I haven't read the fine print, guys. This could be the last of me.
Gold Logie nominated Sam Mack. There is no way that that would be the last of you, that's for sure. It's going to be an interesting time. It's great that you actually pointed out, because in working in media, like comedy that we'll talk to Wil Anderson about later in the show, there's been, everybody's suffered from job losses and those sorts of things, but people in the media, it's a little more obvious to us because on-screen stuff, people behind the scenes are just kind of fallen away because of tighter budgets and people not being able to afford things and those sorts of things. It's a really tough time to maintain a job in the media, because I would imagine, Sam, you're just having to work a little bit harder. Everyone's working a bit harder.
Absolutely, yeah. And, I'm fully aware that it's obviously not just the media. There's so many industries, but you can only talk with knowledge and expertise on your own industry. And I've seen in the last month or 2 months really, really amazing staff, really great performers or behind-the-scenes people, great people who put their passion, their heart and soul into the job and have done for many years and have had great success. I've seen them had to lose their jobs, and it's really devastating. And there's no other way to put it. And at the same time, we all understand the reality of it. Companies, no matter whether they're huge or whether they're a small business, you can only survive on what the money you're bringing in to be able to pay the amount of staff. And it's not as simple as just kind of saying everyone stays on and nothing changes. So there's a part of you that understands it, but there's a part of you that's heartbroken by it, because you know that they don't deserve this outcome, and you know that you might be the next one. It's really unpredictable at the moment. It's scary times.
Yeah, absolutely. And given that, Sam, it draws us into this question we try and ask all of our guests. In the midst of this crazy pandemic times, it's changed everything for everybody. What have you been doing to stay calm?
I've been trying to have positive output where possible. And it's a pretty simple way of looking at it. But, I'm like everyone. I've watched the news. I'm reading about it. I know exactly what's going on. And it's heavy. And I think some people don't realise the mental impact that it has on them, even if they don't, feel depressed or feel anxiety or feel those serious mental, situations that many do. There is a weight. There is a weight that comes with losing your freedom, seeing people on TV dying, seeing people losing family, seeing people not being able to interact with their loved ones, not being able to go to funerals of their loved ones. There is this weight that we're all carrying, and we all process it on different timelines and in different ways. So the more I see of that, the more my instinct is to kind of go, I don't want people just thinking that that's 100% of the world right now, because we can still laugh, we can still smile, we can still shine a light on people who are doing great things. We've done segments on the show about healthcare heroes, nurses, midwives, medical assistants who've been doing it in a fun way, they're really stressful, they're on the front line, but doing it in a fun way, taking 10 minutes to do a TikTok dance. Great. Like the world needs more TikTok dances, but they deserve the chance to do it if it makes them and their patients feel good. I love that. So, on my social media, where possible, share the fun bits, share the laughs, do something that kids will find amusing. Kids don't want to just hear about the doom and gloom, and kids can't process all of this like we can. Give them something to smile about, do something silly. So that's how I've been approaching it, and that helps me stay calm.
Great. Your social media feed, Sam, is a joy at the best of times, but I absolutely agree that during this pandemic, it's been marvelous to swing by your Instagram or check out your Facebook page and just see some of these great moments that you're highlighting, showing the stuff that people are doing. The positivity that you bring to that is I think, reflection of who you are. And that positivity, that starts to spread itself. People grow from that. They see and feel when someone is intentionally trying to be positive and to help others out. That's a really great thing that you're doing. Thank you so much for being a part of that.
Oh, thank you, Molk. Thank you very much, guys. It's a beautiful compliment. Just a shame it wasn't enough to get the gold Logie.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure I vote next time.
But it was an honour to be nominated.
Yeah. It sure was. How do people find your Insta and stuff if they want to check that out and follow it, Sam?
Sam Mac Insta is where they'll find me, SAMMAC Insta. And on Facebook, just search Sam Mac. Also on Twitter, Mr. Sam Mac. I love that. It's a great way of staying connected, and it's a great way for me to kind of get content and get stories from viewers of our show. And often they'll send me a photo or send me a link or a video, and it'll be on Sunrise the next day, and it makes my job much easier. It feels like I've got thousands of researchers who are doing my prep for me. That's my little secret. Shh.
So just look forward to thousands of invoices coming through for all the work that they're doing on your
Yeah, I'll forward them straight to Koshi. That's how it all works.
Koshi's business builders, just invoices. That's fabulous, Sam. We're so glad that you could join us on the very final 10th episode reunion spectacular of Calm Down. Look, keep doing what you do. We're looking forward to seeing more of you on Sunrise, the Big Brother house, possibly an imaginary Logie Awards. Who knows what happens? It's always great to have you involved. Thank you so much, Sam Mac.
Guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Well done for what you've been doing through this period with keeping people smiling and entertained. Love it. And yeah, we'll see you guys on Series 2. There's a Series 2, right? Next pandemic?
You have to ask our bosses. Yeah, next pandemic.
Right,
Next pandemic, absolutely.
Praying for the next pandemic. No, don't do that.
I will go crazy.
Yeah.
Oh,
How good is Sam Mack?
what a wonderful gentleman. What I love is people who laugh with their whole body.
Yes.
Sam's
And
one of them.
he certainly is, and he really is one of them. Like, people use this phrase often, me probably the one that abuses it most. He's one
a
of the
bad
nicest guys.
Oh,
No, he's one of
The other one.
nicest
The
guys
other
on
one.
television. That's right. Which reminds me of a Chris Rock joke that's probably not great to bring up right now. Look, thanks, Sam. And seriously, follow Sam on Insta, Sam Mac Insta.
Yeah.
It is a joy to behold. You see some great behind-the-scenes stuff from Sunrise, as much as the craziness he gets up to.
I'm going to send him some of my earlier segments from the show.
He might. Yes.
Remember when I joined two pieces of wood together?
I do remember that.
See if I can get that on Sunrise. What do you reckon?
That would be quite a segment.
Wouldn't it?
What did you call that segment, by the way?
Building with Bradon, maybe? I don't remember. Mate, it was back in April. Who knows? I've got no idea. Can you believe we made 10 episodes? It certainly wasn't Home Improvement.
I can't believe we made even one. But here we are, nonetheless. Look, and it's been quite the journey, Bradon. We've enjoyed it. There's been laughter. There's been tears. There's been a little bit too much tea drunk.
Complaints. There's been
complaints. And look, most of all, what we've appreciated has been the interaction with our audience. Interaction with our audience. It's been marvelous to have that person involved and watching, and we thank them for watching right now. I really need to hit up my family and have them open just a few more streams so that the numbers look better for our 10th episode reunion spectacular.
Use all your devices, friends. All your devices.
Open them all up. In fact, that way you get the full experience, the full calm down experience.
Surround sound.
Surround. It's virtual reality, Molk and Bradon.
Yeah. Look at us drinking and snacking on live.
So
that'll help. That'll bump the numbers. That's for sure.
It really hasn't. But I think this is a great juncture for us to look, Bradon, in preparing for the 10th episode reunion spectacular. I thought, if we're going to really stand out above, the other programs that lean on nostalgia hard and like try and hit you right in the heart, all of that sort of soppy,
Friends reunion.
Blah, blah, blah.
Rubbish.
It's never going to happen. I thought
Gilmore Girls.
We would set ourselves apart, Bradon, by offering a montage that really, I think, highlights, I'm going to put you on full screen so you can show this, that really highlights the precious moments that Calm Down has brought us. And can we whack that in the VCR and go with that?
Yep, just booting it up now. How good was that?
What the hell are you doing? Look,
what a wonderful trip down memory lane.
Yeah, look, that's certainly what it was. There was a lot of people that had some very distinct feelings. Craig Mitchell finally got in touch with his emotions and realized that he is going to miss Calm Down. He said he's crying. Yes. That's fair. Will Nicholas, never before have I felt this emotion. It defies description. That is, look, pretty accurate, quite frankly. Gibbo, Daniel Gibb, winner of the Jurassic Park t-shirt. This is making me realize just how much I will miss Calm Down. My Thursday nights will never be the same again. Christy Morgan is sharing, I'm feeling emotionally manipulated. That is the correct answer. Sally Yabsley Bell, for some reason, Thor.
Look, Molk, great that we could feature all our viewers in the comments.
All at once.
It has been quite a journey.
Yes.
Thank you to you for capturing that.
Why am I talking to a puppet that's not moving? It's a mouth.
Oh, Bradon had a little too much of the dip, and he's on the floor. He's on the floor with cramps. He'll be back. He'll be back.
Mark Davis
Yeah.
has obviously been touched. He said the counselling is going well. So he's obviously really going to miss what calm down means to him.
Yes.
Luke Reynoldson acknowledges he'll miss Molk nearly dying with laughter. Look, there's still the opportunity it could happen tonight. It could be a live death. And Will Nicholas has said Thor. I wonder if he's got a Thor leg. Maybe did he fall down and hurt himself?
I don't understand all those Marvel references, but
it's all right. I turned him into a very bad dad joke. Is there like something coming from this that you're involved that we're seeing the puppet or what's going on? Nope. There's no joke with this.
Nope. But what would be great? God. We need to go to the next video soon because my arm's hurting. But
I'm that far into a bottle that I opened myself. This is how the show's going.
Gibbo, please send the photo of you with the Jurassic Park shirt.
Yes,
we'd love to include it.
Yes.
After our chat with Wil Anderson.
Are we going to go to that now?
Yeah, we're about to go to that. That might take a little while, but it's worth hanging in for.
Is he up for chat, is he?
Yeah, he's in the green room. He seems, very loose-lipped. So, Gibbo, now's your chance. Whoa! Send the video, please.
God. Oh, goodness.
Where's that introduction lady?
I don't know. Where's the introduction lady?
Let's go to her now.
Let's hear from her. Oh, she's paused.
Our next guest is back in black. He hit the set and it's been too long and he's glad to be back. He's the godfather of Australian comedy and podcasting and comedy podcasting, and you may have even heard of him before. Give a big hand for Wil Anderson.
Wil, thank you so much for joining us. Now, in the midst of all of this craziness, you're an unemployed comedian now, right?
For the first time in 25 years, Steve, I am what my parents were scared of when I first went into
They told you. They warned you.
That I would end up a middle-aged, unemployed stand-up comedian. And for about the last 20 years, I felt like I was really proving them wrong on that one. But I think the day the comedy festival got cancelled and my mum rang me and said, look, if you need to borrow any money, I was like, oh, shit. I've managed to judge the success of my career for the last 23 years of going, well, at least I don't have to ask my parents for any money. And I still have to, it's still a long time before I'm going to get to do gigs again. So I'm not saying that at some stage in the next few months I won't have to ask my parents for money.
Look, it's a conversation clearly that your mum has just been sort of hedging. Oh, no, I don't need to ask him. No, I don't need to ask him. And yeah, what, 25 years? Well, maybe it's time.
Well, you know what it was like? It was like when I got arrested. I could tell that my parents weren't freaked out enough about it. Clearly, they had had a conversation at some stage about how do we react when he gets arrested. And it's taken probably a lot longer than they were imagining. So I think they've rehearsed all these scenarios over the years. But I didn't expect that at some stage I was going to be unemployed again. It actually has been quite confronting and quite challenging. Really, essentially knowing that your industry is not essential. That's what comedy were. We were the first ones to go, and we're going to be the last ones to go back in, I'd imagine, because comedy is probably one of the most dangerous professions when it comes to pandemic, because you're getting a whole bunch of people together in a room and you're literally for 70 or 80 minutes trying to get them to expel fluids from their mouth into the air, with everybody else. So it is one of those things where, I didn't go into comedy thinking that it was going to be a reliable job. I ran away to join the circus, and it's actually been kind of a miracle that it has been a consistent job for me for so long. And it was to the point where I always imagined that it would be. The great thing about having a stand-up career has meant that it didn't really matter if I lose a TV job or a radio job, these sort of things. I can always go back and do stand-up. And this year, I had 3 shows that I was doing. I was going to have a whole year I just stand up, and then a pandemic comes along, and suddenly I'm like, oh yeah, I'm useless. They say that laughter is the best medicine, but it turns out in a time when people are actually sick, it is not the medicine that we need anyway.
No, everyone wants the hydroxychloroquine. That's the best medicine, apparently.
Well, I needed Donald Trump to go on television during one of his rambling press conferences and just say, well, I just watched Wil Anderson's Illuminati. I was just watching the Australian Lockdown Comedy Festival. And I really feel like it's cured me of the Rona.
Yeah, that's it.
What a great time to walk away from a stable job in radio.
They say that the secret of comedy is timing. And so really absolutely nailed that one.
No, that's a good segue, Molk, because we just met 10 minutes ago, but I do feel like I've known you. I moved to Melbourne only a couple of years ago, and you do that sort of when you're first doing the first commute into work, you surf through the radio stations, and I stumbled across you in the mornings, and that was good fun. I used to get a giggle going down the Calder freeway, but I appreciated you stepping down from that job with the hot breakfast, mainly because I now no longer have to listen to Eddie Maguire. So I appreciate that. Like, I was sad.
I've got to be honest. I might just change for him because I'm not sure that he listened to me much when I was on there. But...
No, Eddie. I think Eddie's got the loop through his earphones rather select. Like he's not getting the whole show. That's for sure.
No, the one thing that I do miss, I must say, and look, they were lovely, and I actually enjoyed the challenge of that show because there is something, comedically fun about the idea of being in a room with some people who don't have the same life experience as you, and I'll be talking about different topics we're talking about, and it gives you creative space to play. And the one thing I will say, absolutely, in Eddie's, defence is he was an extremely generous performer in that I could go on air and relentlessly make fun of him, which is pretty much what I did for 2 years. And there was never a conversation afterwards about, hey, I wish you hadn't said that, or could you pull back on, that line of inquiry. So in some ways I'll miss that, and I'll miss the off-air gossip because I've never known more about the comings and goings and who was doing who and what was really going on in the AFL and state politics and all those things, which I definitely, that aspect of the job that I will miss. But it has been very reassuring because when you leave, you're not really sure about whether you're making the right decision or not. For me, it was very much a lifestyle thing. I just felt like I was completely overloaded and something had to go. But also partly for my partner, who wasn't having a particularly fun time living in Melbourne, and also wasn't having a fun time living in Melbourne when I was so extremely busy. And so we wanted to make a lifestyle change regardless of what was happening. But in a moment where you suddenly go from probably earning the most money that I've ever earned in my entire life to earning the least money that I've earned in the last 25 years, that's the moment where you suddenly might go, oh, I wish I was back doing that job. But I must say it's been very pleasing to me to realise that I haven't had that once. There's not been one time in these last couple of months where I still think that I made the wrong decision. So that's actually it's been tested to its absolute extreme. But I'm pleased to say that even though I'm not getting to do stand-up at the moment, to be honest, I've spent these months still doing stand-up because a lot of what stand-up is the creation of the ideas. A lot of the work is stuff that people actually don't see. It's solitary work. So I've just taken this time to be doing the solitary work that I would normally be doing regardless, in the hope that at some stage I'll get to be back in front of people and performing it, live. But it hasn't really felt like it's entirely gone away because I am still working on the idea that it will at some stage come back.
Please can it come back? Because exactly while you were talking about comedy, trying to get people to expel things out of their mouths, churches are in the same position, right? Singing is a no-go zone right now. So I'd say of all of the weirdest combinations, comedy rooms and church worship centres will reopen in the same kind of breath.
Well, I don't think it's even that unusual because you might know this about me, Molk. We might have talked about this before, but my original job that I wanted to do was be a priest. It was probably the first time I saw what I think is show business, a man standing up the front of the room with everybody paying attention to, dressed all black making people think and laugh.
I can just imagine you coming in for mass, back in black, ringing out. Will walks out. The body and the blood of Christ be with you all.
Yeah, and I do think that there is a similarity between the jobs. You look at Chris Rock, and Chris Rock, so much of what he does has been appropriated, and in the best possible way, from the long history of that sort of a Black American preacher style approach. He's taken a lot of that, and he's talked about the fact that he's taken a lot of that into his performance and in the way he works. So it actually, and to be honest, Molk, also, when you first started out, you do a lot of gigs where they pass around a plate at the end of the gig.
And I mean, in both settings, the audience isn't really paying attention. So, I mean, you got to work hard.
Well, look, I would hope that, perhaps there are some people maybe, yes, at church who are there out of obligation rather than, I mean, I would love to have that. I would love to have the idea that there's at least half of my audience who are there just in case. Just as life insurance about the afterlife. That would be quite good.
Fantastic.
And let's be frank, church is made eminently better by being able to have a beer.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, you can drink on a Sunday morning. That's the great thing about, we had a church on our street in Sydney, and, there was some nights back in the day we would be walking past the people who were going to church as we were walking home from our night adventures, and it often occurred to me that it was the only place that was really open to go and get a drink, and maybe I should just pop in.
You'd be very welcome, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think in the state I would have been in, I would have been very welcome. I would have been big on the hands and hearts and the big reviews.
Will, the people that watch Calm Down and appreciate what this craziness has been, would probably not know that you have 17,000 podcasts that you do, that you've continued making, like in force during coronavirus. I'm a subscriber to all but one, and I think they're phenomenal. How do you keep, when, the basic premise of a podcast is that you're doing stuff and you want to talk about it on the recording. When you're not doing stuff, how do you keep that going?
Is that question to me or Will?
It's a very good point. I think a podcast is what you do when you're not doing anything else. A white middle-aged man who's not doing anything else. It's compulsory that I have a podcast. I was into it a lot earlier than other people. So July 2, so a month from basically when we're speaking, is the 10-year anniversary of the podcast I do with Charlie at Pop. So we've been having our little nonsense conversation with each other. We can't really describe what it is for a decade now. And then there's Fofop, which has recently come back. That one had been put on the back burner, but I've had a little extra time. So I've been talking to some of my comedian friends, particularly ones from overseas, about what's going on in the world. And I've got another one of those with Dave Anthony to talk about what's currently happening in America later on in the week. So that'll be as usual. Dave's got an amazing way of predicting the future. He told us Trump was going to be elected. He told us America was going to be on fire through riots. It's a bit scary when you listen back to the Dave Anthony Fofops. And of course, there's philosophy, which has been very interesting for me because I've always had a rule with that show that I only do it with people in the same room. Part of the idea of it is that I can get that sort of intimate connection with somebody if we're in the same space. So what we decided to do during the pandemic lockdown was, instead of doing new episodes, revisit previous guests, on the assumption that I've already got a rapport with those people. Perhaps I can then do them down the line and update on how they've been changed because of the circumstances we're going through. So I've enjoyed those conversations because it's been really great I am personally reassessing what I think is important in life. I had already started doing that, but obviously what we're going through really solidifies that. And I think a lot of people are thinking about the world that we were living in, the world we're currently living in, and the world that we want to return to, and what that world we return to might look like. And then finally, I'm suspecting perhaps the one that you don't listen to is my AFL podcast. Is that right, Molk?
I'm not a massive AFL fan.
AFL podcast. And weirdly enough, Charlie and I have kept doing that intermittently, even though there's no AFL, because our podcast works fine when there's no AFL, because we rarely actually talk about the AFL on AFL podcast.
That's brilliant. So good.
Again, when I moved to Melbourne, I started listening to the AFL podcasts to try and learn about the culture phenomena that is AFL. And after the episodes, I realised it wasn't helping. I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it, but for an educational experience, it wasn't offering much about why everyone down here is so nuts about footy. So, yeah.
Well, Christian O'Connell, who's a Melbourne radio star and a guy from the UK, he had the similar experience. He's been listening to Tofop for years, and he thought, I've come to Melbourne, I've got to learn about the AFL, I'll listen to your podcast. And he said to me, he goes, you're making it worse. I understand about the AFL coming out of the 19 going into this podcast.
Yeah,
that's
make
so
it
good.
work.
Will, look, I honestly have so many questions, and I appreciate your time. I don't want to keep you for too much longer. For those that only know you in your TV incarnation and have seen your hairstyles change over the last, 12 seasons of Gruen, will we see a new hairstyle this year?
At the moment, I've got pretty much, corona hair. So look at how big that is, because my hair grows at a ridiculously impressive rate. But I'm actually wearing a hat because if it's left to its own devices at the length that it is currently at, it turns into a white man afro, and it really feels like I'm doing something racially insensitive. I'm not. It feels like I am.
I'm loving the salt and pepper change, just from the traditional black hair to the greying-ish, and I apologise if that's hitting at your ego. I think it looks very great on you. You're our George Clooney.
It's okay, mate. I've got a mirror. I understand what my hair looks like. It encompasses rights to me.
Some people are precious.
Also, it was not, realistically black for many of the years it was black. So the fact that it has gone grey is on purpose. I did decide that I was finally, because I always dyed my hair not because out of some vanity, but more just out of, I dyed my hair since I was like 13 or 14. I just had mousy brown hair. It's the same colour as my eyelashes, the eyebrows, really. And I was always just bored of it. If people watch old Glasshouse episodes, which I've noticed some people have been doing during quarantine, you can really just see a range of outrageous haircuts that even like Blink-182 would have looked at and gone, no, thank you. That's a bit too much. My girlfriend used to have a fun thing where she would flick through the DVD just at each chapter and go, bad hair. Bad hair, bad hair, bad hair. And so, I've always changed up my hair a little bit, but yes, as I've got older, I'm 46 now. It really is just now growing out to what it naturally is, which means that I am definitely salt and pepper, going a bit grey. And but also that is just the truth of, I was, like you said, it was 12 years ago when I started doing Gruen, so. The show's grown up and I've grown up at the same time.
Awesome.
Wil Anderson's grown up?
Oh.
Well, kind of. In relation to where I was previously. I'm not.
It's all relative.
I'm grown up in relation to other 46-year-olds.
Mate, you should see my Lego collection. The question we like to ask all of our guests on Calm Down, Wil, and you started to touch on it before. I'm sorry we trampled all over that with AFL talk.
What is your philosophy? No, sorry.
Hang on.
No, what? Wrong show.
Yeah, I think so.
Molk, you go.
Thanks, Bradon. What have you been doing to stay calm during this pandemic, Wil?
Firstly, it starts with something really simple, that state of mind of understanding that even though you're going through something big, because I think that it's okay to have that thought, this is affecting a lot of people, and you're allowed to think about how it's personally affected you, but then to contextualize it with the idea that it's affected so many other people in much more desperate ways. And if you can firstly think about how others have it worse than you, I think that is probably a good place to start. And often you can get a lot of energy, particularly early on. One of the things I did on the opening day of the comedy festival, it might seem like a little thing to other people, but so it would have been my 25th year in a row at the festival. So a quarter of a century I've been doing that festival every single year, and it didn't happen. And I was aware enough to understand that perhaps there would be some mental toll or physical toll or whatever it would be, spiritual toll on me, not doing the thing that I had done every single year for all those times. So what I did on the opening day of the festival, instead of thinking about myself, I went through the program and I just wrote a tweet about every show that I would have liked to see, sort of elevated, other comedians and talked about why I like them and, kind of mentioned the name of their show. And I found a lot of solace in that. I found a lot of that, in doing something positive for other people, that it gave me some comfort as well, rather than sitting around and wallowing in that time. And then I've got to be honest with you, I've leaned into the idea of just thinking about what's important. I've used this as an excuse to say, okay, you were never going to have a year off. You were never going to have a break from what it is that you were doing. The world has forced you to have a break. So have a think about what it means and have a think about what's important. And certainly, I have the great luxury of having a job where my job is to process the world. So rather than some people who were suddenly thrown into the idea of, oh my God, I have to process the world, but that is not normally part of my everyday. I go to work, I see my family, but I don't have to sit down and think about what's important and how I'm going to pay my bills and what I want to talk about in the future and what the world, I have a job where I've spent, 2 or 3 months having a really decent think about and having conversations about and reading about what I want the world to look like when we come out of this, and then how is it that I can reflect in my work or affect in my work what that world looks like when we do come out of it. So in some ways, my job is a very good job for that, because the truth of it is that it is a job that is, it rewards you thinking about things deeply. The more deeply you can think about something, the more deeply that you can pick something apart and then put it back together, the better your comedy is going to be. So in some ways, my calm has really simply come from, that thought that I said originally, which was I did not start this for it to be a secure job. When I started doing stand-up comedy, I knew that it would be a risky way to earn my living. And now suddenly it has become risky, the comfort of knowing that there will be things there for me when I come out of it, and the perspective to know that there are so many other people who are doing it much worse than I am doing it right now. And is there ways that I can also help those people have been the things that have mostly got me through this time.
I really, I love that. There's heaps in that answer, Will. Thanks for that. I particularly appreciate it because we went through a run earlier in the season where everyone was talking about how they'd taken up exercise and healthy living, and God, that was giving me the shits. So I really appreciate that. We've ended on a positive, achievable note. I love it.
Also, Bradon, I will say this: I've given up exercise and I've started drinking pretty early in the day.
Yes,
It's been a completely holistic approach.
Yeah. And that is the message we choose to finish this show with. Exactly. That is the message. Thank you, Will. Thank you. Wonderful. We should have had you on at the beginning. Absolutely.
Where's that glass of wine? Will, thank you so much for your time. I saw those tweets that you did, when the comedy festival was due to take off, and I really appreciate it. I tried to retweet as many of them as I could because I value that you were using your position to try and help other people, and I get the opportunity to talk to a lot of people in let's call it show business in Australia, and there are a few like yourself that work very hard to be aware of that and to help lift others up. That's a rarity, and I really appreciate that quality in you and the way that you do that, as well as you're a funny bastard. Thank you.
Here's what I will say though: is and I always like to make this point because it always feels like when somebody mentions that, and I feel it's the nicest thing anybody could say to me that I'm kind to others. I think that that's a really lovely thing to hear about yourself and. But it's instinctive. I don't sit down and think, how am I going to make myself look good in this scenario? It's because, I thought I was going to take an hour to do it that day. I'll just mention the show. And as I went through the program, I just kept going, I actually really wanted to see that show. I love that person. And, I really want to see that show. I love their podcast. And it ended up being a 4 or 5 hour project for me to go through them all and honor them all properly. But the second thing is really that it's never hurt me once. I want to say this to people. I think there's a fear that if you have success, you send the elevator back down or the ladder back down or whatever it is, that somehow you will lose something, that you have to protect what you have. I can sincerely say that I've never felt once in 25 years that I have ever lost anything from helping anybody else. And I've only ever gained things from being supportive of others and giving others opportunities. So it always feels to me like I don't really understand why everybody doesn't do it, because you lose nothing and you gain everything.
Yeah, great.
Spot on. Well, yeah, that's absolutely it, and a great reminder to all of us. Thank you so much for your time, Bradon. I think Will's absolutely nails. Our final guest on Calm Down has brought us back to exactly where we wanted to start.
That's it. That's it, mate. Mission accomplished. we have discovered the gold at the end of the rainbow.
I feel like I should be holding up a Bible awkwardly like this or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, let's not finish on that note.
No.
We can edit that out in post.
No one will know it happened. Will, thank you so much. Thank you for everything, and thank you for continuing to take your perspective on the world and share it with us. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Will.
Yeah.
Bradon, how great was Will? What a great chat that was.
Mate, I could have listened to Will and chatted with him for a long time.
Look, it really was. I found his insight around reflecting on the arts and the fact that he talked about it, for him it's instinctual, helping others and those sorts of things, was a really great reflection of how he's been processing, trying to stay calm during the pandemic, what it looks like to be engaged as a part of community, and something that is a great reminder for us all that, as he said towards the end, I've never been hurt by trying to help somebody else. I've never been drawn down by raising somebody else up effectively. I'm now paraphrasing him, but that's so great.
Yeah. No, my heartbeat's now going to the tune of Toto by Africa. So I've put the cheese dip aside. I think that might have something to do with it.
Africa by Toto.
Africa.
God. I've refilled that twice. This is where this is what's happening to me. It's getting out of control. Now, mate, apart from the fact that was our last formal guest on Calm Down as a part of our 10th episode reunion spectacular. There's so many great moments that we've had across the time. We saw our montage before, some marvelous memories. And of course, with everybody dropping comments everywhere, that's been so great to have them engaged. I'm sorry that we couldn't get Will or Sam to answer your questions. They were just too engaged in the conversation with us.
We've only got so much time for the chat. So unfortunately, sometimes we're a 30-minute show, Molk. So we don't always have time to entertain the comments, but I appreciate you sending them through.
I was just going to offer that behind the curtain on this deal, whenever I pitch our conversations to guests, 5 to 7 minutes. Will spoke for 23.
23 minutes. And 12 seconds. It says here on the run sheet. 23 and 12.
Which is amazing that you've written that down in a live context, Bradon.
It's amazing anyone's still watching. Look, but what it did do is give time for Gibbo to send his photo through.
Well,
thanks,
it's interesting. Mate. It's interesting that you should say that, Bradon, because this came up from Daniel Gibb during that interview. When the shirt arrives, I will send a photo. I haven't received the shirt yet. You cannot take you seriously with that wig. I'm assuming it's still in the mail. Maybe you'll need to come back again. Oh, well, that's not going to happen. Come back again next week so I can show everyone the photo. Sorry, mate, that's not happening. But what's happening,
This episode might still be going. Look, I think that is a classic example of someone. I think Will's, Nagibbo's account's been hacked.
Oh, really?
Because he sent me the photo. I got the photo while we were chatting to Will, and I'll pull it up now.
Do I need to full screen you on this?
No, I think it'll work. Here we are.
Okay. Show
ready?
us the photo. Yes, let's do it.
There it is.
Bradon, first of all, mate.
That's Gibbo.
That's the worst.
Showing off his shirt.
That's the worst Photoshop job I've ever seen.
What do you mean?
And that's not even the shirt.
Shit.
That's not the shirt, mate. What are you doing?
No, okay.
That's rubbish.
No. Okay. I did mock that one up. in case Gibbo didn't send one. But I'm glad to say he did.
It hashtag real talk right now and Calm Down. I'm so glad that you feel that this is a safe space, Bradon, that you can share your truth.
Okay, fine. You saw through my Photoshop effort But that was because I didn't have any confidence in Australia Post, but Gibbo did send one through. I will need full screen for this to really appreciate it.
Okay,
Here it is. Ready?
Okay.
There it is. There it is. Gibbo with his Jurassic Park shirt. You can't tell me that's not the right Jurassic Park shirt. There it is. Our T-shirt winner, Daniel Gibb. Did I break Molk? Did I break him? Get back on the screen. Did we make his face explode? Oh, we got close. Oh, we got close.
He had arrows for hands.
I'm not good at drawing the hands. I'm not good at drawing the hands. But well done, Gibbo.
That's amazing.
Of course, you will. Okay. Look, if hashtag real talk. Oh, I can't find it anymore. This is a shambles.
What are you looking for? That's amazing.
There's a little. When you post a parcel,
Yeah.
Australia Post give you a little ticket, and I've got it, but
Yes, they do.
would you believe it? I stuck it to my laptop, and now it's all falling apart. I can't even peel it off. But I did send. There's part of it there. I did send the shirt. The problem is I only put it in the post box yesterday, so it is on its way, Gibbo. And you know what'll be great? What'll be great is Gibbo can post that on his socials, in a week or so, and no one will have. There'll be 4 of us that think it's hilarious, and everyone else will be like, "What is going on?" But until then, I tell you what I'm going to do, Molk.
If he doesn't screen cap that and make that his Facebook image.
Well, I was going to say, I know Hans is in the green room, so we need to get to that. But Gibbo, I'm going to send you that photo. That's the sort of guy I am. I'm going to send you that photo.
That's so great. Oh my
Just
goodness.
as a placeholder until you get the T-shirt, because I love you, mate, and I appreciate the comments. Those. I've got another shirt. I've got it. Do you want this shirt? No.
Hang on.
No.
I can't see what shirt.
This one is a Philadelphia 76ers shirt. I can't say it too much. I'm not wearing pants, but yeah. So
You must be freezing everything off in your shed then.
I'm drinking enough cordial that I can't feel my face, my friend.
Welcome
Right.
to the adults only section of Calm Down. Now we
warned you. We warned you.
We probably need to bring in the voiceover girl.
Hey, wait!
What?
Stop everything!
What?
Amy Gibb! Stop everything! Proof.
But he's wearing the shirt right now. I can see it. Well, we need photographic evidence of this.
There it is!
That's not,
There it is!
not even the shirt. What are you doing?
All right, we have smashed that gag so many times. We
Only
need to
put
keep
this
moving.
through the ringer.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't seen that picture until then, and I'm so glad that you saved it. Oh my goodness, it was amazing.
Hashtag new profile pic. Hashtag.
What was with the arrow hands? That's still missing. His arms.
It's hard to draw them. He's relaxed. He's chilling. Gibbo's gone quiet in the chat. I think he's fallen apart too. All right.
Our
Our
great is
musical
Morgan
guest.
Vintage, by the way.
Our musical guest, Molk. Should we go?
It's time for a musical guest. Let's see what the voiceover lady has to say.
Our final guest tonight is an international superstar. He's the Queen of Kings and the King of Simon Cowell's Heart. You've seen him on America's Got Talent, and now you get to see him on Calm Down. Please welcome Accordion Hands.
Hans, it's so great to have you join us. Can you tell us what is it like being an international musical superstar here in Australia?
Oh, well, boys, it is hectic. I will say that. But, thanks to this lockdown, it's a little less hectic than it was a few months ago. Let's just put it that way. I'm pretty bored.
Well, you have been keeping very busy. I mean, just this week alone, you've been travelling around South Australia for the South Australian Tourism Commission, showing off the glory that is. Plus, you've even been putting on your own show from home.
Yes, and the best thing about it that, unlike some other people on the internet, I'm still managing to look amazing doing it. I mean, that's not a judgment call on the two of you.
No, we appreciate
it as well.
Yeah, thanks, Hans. I've got a question that I think you're probably most qualified
Bradon,
to answer.
Hit me up.
A few weeks ago, I came into the possession of a green morph suit, a tight-fitting number.
Yes.
I'm having chafe problems. Now, as a fellow man in Lycra, any advice? Should I go the baby oil, the talcum powder?
Talcum powder is your friend, Bradon. Let me say this to you now. I have been in situations where I've been chafing so much that I've almost been like two hams in Velcro. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I know what you're saying.
I would say apply it very liberally. Go, puff that powder around like you're Amy Winehouse in the mid-2000s, okay? That's what I'll say to you, Bradon.
Sound advice. Thank you. Thank you.
Mate, I love you guys just casually talking about something that is my daily life, quite frankly. Hans, in the midst of all of this, you're a performer. You're more than a triple threat. You're all of the threats. Singer, dancer, writer, choreographer.
Oh, no, not that. No.
Almost all of the threats.
Yes.
When it comes to performing, what is your favorite thing that you love to do the most?
Probably modeling, I think. I started my career in the fashion industry very, very early on. I walked along some of the greats, Naomi Campbell, Heidi Klum, Giselle Bundchen. They were all doing the runway. I was a hand model, boys. That one's name is Kim. That one is Chloe. That gets more jobs. So I think that's probably, it's an early love of mine. But you're right. I do excel in everything I put my mind to. I put my eyes touch.
You sure? Oh, hang on, just for a second. I've just got to pick up those names that you dropped.
Correct. Thank you.
You also play the accordion.
You've come to the right place. I mean, I know this show itself has been just a smorgasbord of people. I mean, it's been named, and Wil Anderson, which has been fabulous.
We
esteemed.
You also play accordion, Hans. That's true.
That's very, very true. Yes.
So, did you learn that as a child?
Yes, it was. Something in my past, very, very early on. I realized the pumping sensation was something that was going to come very naturally to me, and ever since then, it's just been, strapping a giant piece of plastic to the front of myself has been almost like a calling, I will say.
Yeah, and you can play accordion. I mean, were you beat up as a child playing accordion?
No, but I did. Look, let me give you a little insight. I'm not ashamed to say, but I was the school bully, okay?
Oh.
And it followed me through. Look, sometimes you just got to put some bitches in their place.
Yes.
Better get in before they bully you. That's my advice to any children who might be watching this. They're probably tuned out by now. But my advice is, the anti-bullying campaigns, I just say, get in before they bully you. That's my tip.
Yeah.
I know it's not traditionally what they tell people anymore, but it's done me no harm. I mean, look where it got me. I'm on the calm down. What is this called? Calm down. Calm down. Thank you.
And you're the face of Tourism South Australia. I mean, shame on them.
Shame on them. Where are they? Back in Berlin.
To make sure that they get the most money out of you would be appropriate. What's your favorite thing about South Australia, Hans?
Steve, let me tell you about South Australia. As you can hear from my accent, I am, of course, German, but I have chosen to make South Australia my home for the time being. I mean, I'm up to suggestions, but South Australia, somehow it feels like home. It almost feels like I've lived here for 35 years and never anywhere else.
Almost. It's a warm hug. It's closed on Sunday.
A warm hug. It's a gentle bosom, which I'm nestling into.
What a great metaphor, Bradon.
And I think a fitting metaphor that for our reunion and final episode ever, that Calm Down has been a comforting bosom.
Yes.
I think, I think that's something we can all take away from this experience.
I think so. You're providing a community service. You're practically a charity, and there's been no bigger charity cases than some of your previous guests tonight. Sam, Sam, I know him well. He has, I resurrected that man. I did several times nightly, and yes, he was nothing until I went on Sunrise with him. He'll tell you that. Pressure him enough, and he'll tell you that. We've done wonderful moments together. We've sung some beautiful duets. I recently found out that Sam Mack does play a guitar. So from now on, I will not be playing the accordion on any of our crosses anymore because, frankly, I'm sick of carrying the load.
Yeah, yes. And more, and that's right. He should be pulling his weight, really, shouldn't he?
Yeah. He should be pulling something.
Look, until Sam was on this episode, Gretel Colleen was our worst guest. But,
oh no, what happened?
Oh, she broadcast from a cave. She insulted the hosts.
Well, she insulted you, Bradon, not me.
She broadcast from a cave.
Yeah,
that's what it looked like.
It was. It was terrifying. That's when we had to bump up from PG to M rating. But Sam Mack has just dug a little deeper. So, but you win some, you lose some.
That's true. That's a beautiful metaphor for life, isn't it?
Yeah.
One day you've got a Gretel Colleen, the next day it's a Sam Mack.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what obstacles are in front of us?
There's no way of knowing.
Look, the controversy.
Every now and then, a little ray of sunshine comes along, and one day you get a Hans.
Sequined sunshine.
Brief moments of light in life.
So much sunshine, Hans. You can probably settle a great debate that I know the nation have been sort of leaning into. Koshi or Sam?
Debate is what you're saying?
Yes, debate.
Yes, okay. What is the question?
Would you prefer a Koshi or a Sam?
Oh, darling, this is the Sophie's choice of our time, isn't it? Sam Armitage and I, well, we're frenemies. I will say that. It stems back a long time. In fact, the first time I ever appeared on Sunrise, she was heard just out of earshot saying, "Is he a local celebrity?" And what can I say? I tried her, didn't I? So I don't like to play favorites, though. I don't like to judge. It's not in my nature. But Koshi all the way. No, please. It'll get back.
Oh, your secret is safe with us and our viewer. Before we do give you some moments to be in the green room, Hans, prepare yourself, centre for your performance.
Yeah.
We do like to ask all of our guests one question. It's the trademark of Calm Down. During the pandemic, during these crazy times that we've been living with, what have you been doing to stay calm?
Oh, mostly talking to strangers on Grindr.
Yeah, seems fair.
Well,
it's
kind of been the same as any other day. The good thing about Adelaide is, everything's locked down. The streets are there. People are staying at home. It just feels like normal, actually. That's what I said to you. We don't know anything changed.
Now, Hans, before you say goodbye or powder your nose, we do want to say we've got a lot of upset, distraught, lost fans knowing that this is this is the last show. So we would like to hand them to you. Sunday nights, your show, probably some recycled guests from the phenomenon of Calm Down.
Yeah.
But how can people connect? How can people get in touch, find out? Where are you on the socials?
Boys, I appreciate you passing me your baton. And I'm on Accordion Hans on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Grindr, Tinder, Christian Mingle. I'm on anything. You can find me. Sunday nights is Hans's House Arrest. George, we've got 2 more episodes to go. We're only doing 5.
Great.
I from a history where people get paid for shows. So I'm not going to be doing this forever.
It's a lesson we could have learned.
Exactly. But the last 2 shows are going to be pretty epic. That's all I said. We've had some wonderful guests so far. We've had Daming Im, Howie Mandel, Annabelle Crabb, Sam. But I will say, get ready for the final 2 shows. And I'm being vague because, well, we haven't booked anybody yet. But I'm sure it'll be great.
It'll be fantastic. It'll be great.
Just like Calm Down.
Yeah.
Send me Wil Anderson's number. That'll be lovely. Thank you.
That's fair. That's totally fair. So where can people see Hans's House Arrest? When and where?
Just before, Accordion Hans on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, basically anything. And also, are you getting a sense of deja vu?
I am. I was paying attention. Yeah.
I'm reinforcing ABC, always be selling.
Oh, good. Marketing. Excellent.
Yeah. Well, Hans, we're so stoked that you could be here to join us for the final ever episode of Calm Down and to be our final ever musical guest. Yeah. We know that you need to prepare yourself, so thank you so much. We'll let you step into that green room and we'll go say our goodbyes so that we can see the glory that is Accordion Hans performing for us. Thank you so much.
Danke, boys, and get ready. I've actually gone all out with this performance. Wait for the production values. Live from my house.
We expect nothing less.
Thank you.
Bradon, what a joy Accordion Hans is, and what a way to bring home this absolute schmozzle of a show that is Calm Down.
Yeah, look, totally. Russell Brand, Sam Neill, Scott Ludlam,
yes,
Kate Ritchie, Mickey Higgins, Kate Sobrano, Adam Band. He was interested. Yeah, he was interested until they asked to see a recording of an earlier show, and then they said no. The one that really broke my heart was probably Jimmy Giggle.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, he's doing nothing now.
If you told me, I could have asked him. I've got his number.
Well, put it in the chat. We'll all ask him.
We'll all ask him.
We'll all ask
Jimmy Giggle, what the hell are you doing, mate?
That'd be enough for a reunion reboot, I reckon. Jimmy Giggle. I can do the puppet stuff. That'd be fun.
You think it's all right? Sure, that would be phenomenal.
Now, Hans needs a minute, so why don't we wrap this sucker up?
It's really probably time that we should, Bradon. There's a lot of people to thank, and we need to start very quickly with all of the people who sacrificed their careers to appear on Calm Down as a guest. And we are talking about Carla Nunn, Jules Hamilton, Grant Norsworthy, Gretel Colleen live from her cave, Tash Holmes, Rachel Collis, Eddie Perfect, David Campbell with all of his technical difficulties, Merrick Watts, Ash London, Georgie Coughlin, Joe Griggs live from the farm, and please can we get the NBN out there? Dave Hughes live from the city of Melbourne, and the NBN didn't work.
No NBN.
The Amicables, Matt and Katie, Evie Jones, Mark Humphreys. Who could forget the Accordion Pella performance? Sammy J, Julia Morris, and more importantly, her husband Dan, which was delightful. 3 Chicks in a Beard, Joel McKerrow, Tegan Higginbotham, Scotty Darlow, absolutely smashing it out last week. And tonight's guests, Trent, I'm going to say Cucciarelli, and I know it's wrong, I apologize, Sam Mack, Wil Anderson, and Accordion Hans. It's been an absolute plethora of talent. So many people taking part in this great show. If you heard a name there that you were like, oh, I missed that, good news. All previous episodes are on YouTube. Pending copyright infringement. No, they've been trimmed out, so there's a few sort of weird skips. You go to ucayouth.org.au, you can watch the entire back catalogue of this shenanigans. Look, the world ain't that bad. Like, don't. Like, if that's your only option, I'll give you my Netflix login. Like, don't. But it's all there. It's all there. Really evidence. Interesting, Bradon, because I obviously went through every episode to cut together that montage. Oh, no, and look, I have to, before we push on very quickly, Daniel Gibb has reminded me, what about Chris Hemsworth? We do need to thank him for appearing for himself.
The hammer's still here.
And if he was to make a showing before the end of this show, I'm dead. Rip Molk.
Yeah, no, he's look, he's stoned off his nut up there in Byron Bay. Let's be honest, he's
probably
he's
hanging
not
out
upright.
with Will. He's probably making sure. No, that's right. Look, so many people got involved in this. I'd like to thank personally the Pulse team for letting me take over the Pulse Facebook group on Thursday night and just doing this kind of craziness. That's what I was saying. If you watch, I went through all of the episodes to put together the montage, and I'm going to say, mate, tonight, the most professional performance that we've put on across the entire series, which is saying something about our very first episode. It's not great.
No,
it's fun, but it's not great.
Look, I love the titles on the iPad. That was maybe we peaked early. Like that was a ripper, and I love that it made it in the montage.
It was so disappointing to me because we were getting ready to go, and all of a sudden nothing worked, and we're like, "How are we going to do this?" When I'll just hold it up on my iPad. That was all.
No one noticed.
No one could tell. If we hadn't reminded them, they would have forgotten. So I need to thank Karen and Joyce and Offer for letting me take over the Pulse Facebook page. Thank you, guys. Hopefully this has done something to grow some traffic and some internet presence. I also need to thank my ever long-suffering wife and my two kids who have put up with Dad telling them to get off the internet on Thursday nights so that we could try and give you some semblance of a decent show.
I'd say thanks to my wife, but she won't see it. But thanks, babe.
You should have done that about an hour and a half ago when she was watching.
Oh, look, we did this because we believe in miracles. And two miracles happened. I got a text that said my young son, Paddy, was engrossed in the first half hour with Trent. And
that's the longest he's paid attention to you ever.
Look, super dad right here. And I got a notification while I was really attentive to the Will conversation. Trent Cucciarelli accepted my Facebook friend request. Yes, I'm friends with famous people. We need to also. There's an unsung part. Like, Calm Down is really a trio.
It really is.
Two of us do all the work. But there is a long-suffering silent partner.
All the heavy lifting happens here.
Oh, yeah. Caitlin Bird is our content editor. We send her the jokes, and she says funny or shit. And so all I'm really doing is throwing her under the bus. If you found any part of this show not funny, it's Caitlin's fault. But she has been. We have road tested so many bad stuff, and then used it anyway. So thank you to her. That's it.
Will Nicholas has asked, when is the DVD coming out? Mate, it's 2020. It's going to be available on Stan anytime soon.
Yeah, that's right. I hear Channel 7's desperate for content. So,
that's right. Or it'll be Sunday, Monday, Tuesdays once Big Brother tanks.
Yeah, that's right.
It's very likely you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Oh, Bradon.
They might replace it with Lego Masters Kids.
That's
on
a
wrong
network.
Wrong network. Doesn't Murdoch own both of them?
No, not yet.
He will.
Oh, look, it's very likely. Before we turn this into an online production meeting, we need to say thank you to all you guys who are still hanging in, all 13 of you. We really appreciate you guys tuning in and putting up with our absolute idiocy on Thursday nights. We really have tried to give you something that's been entertaining, model something that is an opportunity of how we can engage with people and talk about faith in a real kind of context. And I think you saw all of that come together, particularly tonight in some of the conversations. Thank you so much for being a part of this, for believing in us, for putting up with us, for us badgering you and sending you a million requests to come to our live show.
God, people are sick of that. Oh, they're sick of the notifications.
And I can tell you that should there ever be a live youth gathering where Bradon and I are in the same space, I can guarantee that of an evening, Calm Down will get a live-only run as a form of an up-late chat show.
No recording devices.
No recording, just risky live and on the edge. You will want to be at those things if and when they happen.
Yep. Molk, thank you to you.
Thank you, Bradon. It's been great.
Thank you to me.
Thank you
to my mum who's watched all these episodes and then sends me a little text message at the end.
Great.
Thanks,
that's lovely.
Judy. She doesn't feel confident to comment on Facebook. She's still working out the technologies, but
Mate,
thank you, Judy.
You should get her to talk to your dad, who has no problem posting on Facebook.
Oh, yeah. Warren, you need to calm down.
Burn down that Notre Dame Cathedral you're building, mate. Do something with it.
Oh, you crushed him. You crushed him. Actually, I did when I asked him to help record Nana for the show. I think that was a body blow. Next season, Dad. Next season, you're our first guest. Friends, it's quarter to midnight. No one's
late.
here, but Hans is in the green room.
Yes.
We need to wrap this up. This has been Calm Down. I have been Bradon.
I have been Molk. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to put this thing into a river. Let's see what Hans has got for us to finish the very long 10th episode reunion spectacular. That's it for Calm Down.
Bye. Love you.